Space, the final frontier.
This is the podcast State of the Federation.
Its continuing mission.
The preview strange new ships.
To seek out new builds and new combinations.
To boldly go where no show has gone before.
There we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Federation. Today on State of the Federation, we have State of the Game. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our biannual kind of all-over generalization of everything we can think of that is Star Trek Attack Wing. Joining me today, of course, we have former number 2 in the world. We have Joseph Vandriat. How are you doing today, sir?
Ahoy, hoy. I'm well.
Cool. We've got Tucker, who is on his phone that may have to cut in and out a couple times during the broadcast. How are you doing, Tucker?
Should be just once. I'm almost there. Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. I have salad. I need to get home before the salad stops being salad.
And it turns into a new form of life. And, of course, we have me, your host, Delta Angel Flyer, also known as William Sanchez, former number 3 in the world, and the one who is broadcasting on a kind of sketchy connection tonight. If you notice an exceptional number of drop frames, I apologize in advance. However, that will not stop the show from going on. Right, guys?
Show must
Something,
go
something
on.
Broadway? Something, something?
Yeah, we need a Queen sound drop for this. Boom.
Queen?
Indeed. So, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff to just talk about today. So this is going to be more of a kind of a discussion show. And to start off with, we kind of divided up the whole show into 3 or 4 different sections. At the end of the show, we'll have like an entire Q&A section if people are interested enough in such a thing. So hopefully I want to get as much, discussion going in the chat room as possible. So lay everything on me that you can, guys. Bring your friends. Bring your mom. Bring your dog.
Lay on me. Lay on me.
Indeed. But first up on the agenda then, I want to talk about gameplay. Now this is going to be just everything related to actually playing Star Trek Attack Wing. The meta, as it were, playable fleets, what we've seen, what we can expect to see, and just things that are all around playable. And I think that's, playing the game is a great place to just kind of get a jumping off point, right? So,
Sure. At what level are you defining playable?
We are a competitive-based Star Trek Attack Wing podcast, so I'm going with competitive level. Things that OP events, maybe, specific kinds of custom events, but generally, for the most part, official rules and official errata and all that good stuff. Otherwise, unrestricted.
Fleets you'd expect to see at an OP, right?
At an OP or at a regional or at something like that.
Right.
Something that doesn't have a lot of crazy, strange rule changes so far. But, yeah. And I think, honestly, the best place to start is, we did it for 4 weeks already, but going back to Worlds, we had a lot of variety of fleets there, and I think that's a good jumping off point. So...
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like we lost Tucker. I was going to say, build diversity right now in the game is really high, but, I mean, maybe that's a point better made after we go over some of the builds.
And that's one of the things that Tucker was actually going over a lot, too, is, there's a lot of things that you can do differently in this game now, because thanks to, the top 4 worlds lists that were all pretty radically different.
Yeah, and also if you're doing the same thing, same kind of thing, or the same archetype of a fleet, you can be doing it in very different ways as well. So it's not just like you can do attack cancellation and extra maneuvering. You can do extra maneuvering in a lot of different ways.
Mm-hmm. So, going back to the builds that we've already seen, like in the top size, we had a super maneuverable kind of Borg build from Peter. We had your additionally very maneuverable bioship build with fighters for just straight up attack power. We had my what did I run in the final World Championship? My double Borg with science vessel support, running the magnetic charges for the range 3, and
Picard for extra movement.
Oh yeah. So mid maneuverable.
And Rich had the Fed fleet captain on a mirror ship for the extra movement.
And he was running a very high Alpha Strike build.
Yeah. I guess the movement was more for pointing his Klingon turret, so to speak, than classic extra maneuvering, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But everything had some kind of extra maneuvering. You know, one thing that gives you extra maneuvers is actually now like middle of the road now. The top two both had 2 forms of extra maneuvering in the Scout and Fleet Captain, or Fleet Captain and Admiral. So maneuvering is a part of the game again.
A big part. The part.
Because there was a long time, you know, in the previous, 6 months to a year, where after Borg came out, but before the Borg nerfs, that maneuvering wasn't really much of a care for anyone playing, because everyone who was winning was playing Borg for the most part.
And for a window there with the TAC cubes, the only thing that you couldn't bump into in the game was another TAC cube and maybe a flagship soon or something.
There was that. There was the sphere, and there was the battleship.
Tucker's back.
Yeah, sorry, that was just really loud. Let me adjust the volume. What'd I miss?
We're talking about maneuverability in the meta.
Oh, how it's awesome?
How it is a thing again, as opposed to the last 6 to 12 months where your Borg didn't care.
That's correct, but my Borg still love maneuverability. I mean, we're still awesome at it.
I mean, I still love Borg maneuverability even before they were limited to their ranges and such. But
well, I mean, obviously before then they were like ridiculously more maneuverable than anything else in the world. But like now, with maneuverability quality, they're still a heck of a thing. Even in faction peer, because the independent fleet captain they can still take.
And then the thing after that is, does that mean that anything that doesn't bring along additional maneuverability just isn't worth it anymore?
And the answer is no, I think, based on day 2 of Worlds, because the fleet you ran that day didn't have any extra maneuvering, did it?
Nope. That was the straight up pump as many dice as you could into the magnetic charges. So I wasn't using the Picard or the fleet captain or any admiral for that one that day.
So
and, it ended up doing pretty well.
Sorry?
We were just talking about...
Will,
can
I'm
you hear
losing
us?
you a little bit.
We were just talking about the unmaneuverability of my Borg build from day 2.
Yeah, no, I can hear Joseph fine. I just can't hear you.
Well, that's weird.
Well, we're back. Anyway, what I was just going to say is, I'm coming at this from a place where I have been reviewing every single thing in the game recently because of battle stations. I think there's a lot of untapped potential out there, and not all of it is in maneuverability. I mean, obviously that's a great thing, but there's a lot of random stuff out there. Let me tell you.
Dude, this game compared to something like Magic the Gathering, being the granddaddy, I guess, is the Wild West and has so much untapped potential because we're just not getting reliable data from events enough to have the same kind of a hive mind, right? So you can't discover all these combos in a group in a internet-wide fashion the same way.
Yeah, you really need like a core group of people that just can have at it and just woodshed away at it over and over again. Week after week with a couple different builds and maybe just changing it a little bit. Because I mean, the thing at Worlds that we saw was that even though my Borg magnetic charges build didn't have maneuverability and did pretty well, the fact is, was there any other build that didn't have maneuverability and can do well besides Borg? Because the Borg do have always had that kind of advantage with the 360 art where they don't need as much maneuverability. And the other hand is that in the entire standing of 3 days of 18 people each, was there any attack negation fleets at all?
No. And they're not going to need maneuverability.
Mm-hmm. Unless you want to actually shoot things while you're, negating your attacks.
There was a couple of copies of conditional surrender, but not in a where it could iterate each turn
in a reusable fashion.
The answer is conditional surrender gives you or attack cancellation in general gives you inevitability, which makes having the ability to shoot every single turn far less important.
Yes,
that is true. That is true in the sense of surviving. That may be an issue, though, in the case of something like Worlds, where you actually have a time limit. Or most OPs actually have time limits.
That's true, but the thing is, I don't need to kill all of your ships. I just need to kill one of them and have you not kill any. Or you kill my support craft, and I kill your support craft and one of your other things, and I'm golden.
Mm-hmm.
Because conditional surrender is not unique, and even if it were, we have Barrel. Yep. And we have Wayun, and we have SOPAC. So we have the tools we need to make two 50-point CS builds.
And you can even keep your third ship alive with that, if it's a shuttle. Dock it on one of the...
you know what? I didn't even think about that. Yeah, good point.
I think the shuttle being so new for Worlds, people hadn't taken it out for a spin, because being able to hide those points in an attack cancellation build is so critical.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing that didn't happen, really, was... oh, shoot. I had a train of thought here. Where did it go? I forgot. Dang it. I'll think of it later. But, yeah, besides attack cancellation, disruption was almost non-existent at Worlds for the most part, too. There was maybe one or two, copies of, 4th of 5?
I don't see disruption as being a huge part of the meta, though.
Mm-hmm. There was one copy of Gul Madrid that I saw all weekend.
It was in two different builds. They were both your builds, but it was in two different builds.
So there was a lot of very what's the good word I'm looking for? There's a lot of narcissistic play, I'm going to say. Is like a lot of people thinking, kind of strictly about their own builds and not too much about other people's builds beyond the one cloaked mines or two sets of cloaked mines for the fighter protection.
First of all, we're not going to call them narcissistic because that's insulting. We're going to call them damn the torpedoes builds because, number one, that's not insulting, and number two, torpedoes suck.
What did that have to do with torpedoes at all?
Damn the torpedoes.
Yeah. Damn the disruption?
Yes. Damn the disruption, full speed ahead.
Gotcha. We'll call them the I don't want to call them the short-sighted builds. I feel that's worse than narcissism.
Look, all of these terms you use keep being insulting. That's why I'm suggesting something like damn the torpedoes, just because you're, they're not, it's not a bad thing, necessarily, to be all in. All-in builds.
Yeah, and in the case of Worlds, it was probably the right meta call to make. I mean, Peter started with disruption and then took him out because he wasn't worth the points.
Yeah, all in, I really think is the way to go. There's no... Disruption is too cute. It's not good enough yet, is the other thing.
Or not anymore since they nerfed all the powerful things.
Yeah, it was good. It was good enough when you could get other value out of it by bringing Barrel over off of a science vessel or whatever, right?
Or drop 3 APTs on a ship with 1 attack.
That was fun.
Which may have had something to do with what I was talking to you in the chat about earlier today, by the way.
Those were the days. That's another sound drop we need from that old show.
No, we don't need that.
Yeah, so right now, like, the main thing we're seeing is, just a lot of go forth and destroy. A lot of aggro, not a lot of control. I don't know if does that really count?
Sorry?
I'm not even sure that's the proper term. Would that really count? Because we have a lot of control in maneuvering, which requires...
No, what you want is, you're talking aggro versus disruption versus combo versus, I don't even know what you'd call maneuverability, but like...
I think it's disruption. I think Will's right.
Control, I guess. I don't know. I think of control as something else. But,
It's the closest we have in this game right now.
you could call it board control, actually. I would lump maneuverability in with things like blur and faked messages. So you could call it board control.
Yeah, that's not bad. And then I guess hard control would be more the attack canceling, that kind of thing.
That I would put under combo. I mean...
Well,
like,
the recurring one would be a combo thing. Just attack negation in general, like one shot would be more of just kind of a control, part of a control scheme.
Oh, no. One-shot attack negation is disruption. I disrupt your ability to do things.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Anyway, I
We're
mean,
getting into a lot of
we're getting
strange
really
definitions
theoretical here. So, I will also make the claim, by the way. I'm going to make a very contentious claim. Okay?
That's a first.
I think that faction mixed play under WizKids recommended rules and WARF rulings is at this point sufficiently balanced and diverse.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's certainly balanced enough to be not only enjoyable but engaging. And more than that, in my time anyway, you guys can speak to the Dominion War. I don't recall a time where it was more balanced.
Joseph?
But we are back, guys, and we were talking about balance.
Yeah. Joseph and I think the game at mixed faction WizKids recommended and with all rulings intact is balanced. I don't know if we got that.
I'm of the impression that it is not, just because we did not see enough of a variety of builds at Worlds.
So here's the deal. We saw a very wide variety of builds.
We saw not a single portion of attack cancellation, which is the major thing that dominated in the regionals. And if we had enough players, there would have been enough of it that I think it would have risen to the top. We would have had enough people. Or we'd have had enough people running double fighters that a lot of the cute builds that all of us players had would have actually died.
Double fighters got wrecked in the top 8. Like, double fighters got wrecked. No, it wasn't even double fighters top 8. Like, it didn't even make it. Like, ran two fighters. Curtis ran two fighters day 2. Or
Two
finals.
scimitar is not the way
remember.
to go do it, though. Absolutely not.
Okay. It's not unbeatable by a long shot. Like you are making something out of nothing here.
Yeah, two fighters, 2 ships. Didn't get anywhere with us in our testing. I don't necessarily disagree in principle or in theory on the attack cancellation, but I'm not sure what the build would be.
Sure, I'm really not sure it would. Even if you had some kind of a shuttle knot, suicide Pegasus thing, like I'm still really not sure that it would work. Like,
well, you're giving up points right off the bat there, and you've got at least a planet for the other person to hide around. So,
that's the thing. If you're not doing it that way, then you've got, even if you have 2 ships with attack cancellation, which is, I think, the most viable form, all you have to do is focus fire, which is probably what you're going to do anyway.
Yeah, except you're still losing half of your attacks while the opponent is probably still getting 3. Like, the thing I still don't get about Josephsville is, like, what did you do against 2 ships, 2 fighters that just wanted to come after you?
Fuck mine.
So,
which also works against attack cancellation.
Yeah, I was always putting a planet down if they weren't to even better in most cases, and then I had the cloak mines. So the fighters usually got 1 pass, if that, because I could maneuver out of their arcs pretty reliably.
Yeah, and I mean,
with both of your ships and your fighter set.
No, but that's fine, right? They can hammer on my fighter all day long.
That's true.
I mean, look, actually, I'm thinking about this. There's a very old Magic the Gathering axiom. I mean, this is almost obsolete, but it actually works here. Control beats combo, aggro beats control, combo beats aggro.
Yeah, that doesn't really apply here in Star Trek, though. Like, we tried defining
totally
these
does.
terms, but it doesn't work.
It totally does. Maneuverability beats attack cancellation beats straight up aggro beats maneuverability.
Maneuverability doesn't beat attack cancellation.
I don't think it straight up beats it. I think some versions of it certainly can, though.
All right. Well, okay. Look, I am also pretty sure, by the way, that like 2 Borg ships will beat 2 non-Borg ships with attack cancellation, straight up.
That's a tough claim.
What are the 2 ships with attack cancellation?
Yeah.
I don't know. Some scimitars or something. I don't know. The point is, like, I don't think... The point is, I don't think... am I saying attack cancellation is bad? God, no. I think it's great. I think it's still an incredibly dangerous force in this meta. I just don't see it as wrecking the meta in the way it did in regionals.
Well, if people if with the decline of disruption as the be-all, end-all, no one's going to run it anymore, then attack cancellation is king again.
No, I completely disagree with that. I think at this point, the game has been limited in such ways. If we were still in a place where we could build a dreadnought with 3 attack cancels per turn and you can't do anything to it because it is cost and disruption field, then yes, obviously I'd agree with you. But we can only do 1 attack cancellation a turn. We have to run 3 ships. We can only attack cancel on 2 of them. Even if one of them is a fighter that we protect, like, it's not invincible anymore. Far from it. I mean, hell, we can take Brunt or a Bioship Alpha and give them APTs to really mess them up, because one of those ships has to be SOPEC, which means it's taking an APT every turn.
Or even if you just do the 1 ship, like fighter. The problem with attack cancellation was fighters brought in enough dice quantity that it could overcome the mitigation. No one's running fighters anymore because there are so many because people are countering them first off. So you lost the 2 biggest opponents to attack cancellation, which was overcoming it with fighters and circumventing it with disruption, both of which are not played in this meta.
More than half the people in the top 8 ran fighters.
And because I saw Joseph's last 2 games, and the fighters really didn't do much.
Fighters don't do a lot against magnetometric guided charges. I don't know what Joseph. Who was your other? Oh yeah, you were playing against Will. Yeah, so it was 2 straight games of magnetometric guided charges. Yes, fighters do not work against their literally the best counter in the game. Like, except cloaked mines maybe. Look, the point is,
or missile launchers.
If you only do it on 1 ship, I just attack your other ship.
You can't. You always have at least 20 points that are unprotected by attack cancellation right now.
70 if you're only doing it on 1 ship. If you're doing it on 2 ships, one of them's taking an APT every turn.
Yeah. well, I guess you shuttle not for 100 points. But yeah, you have points on the table that you can't protect, even if it's a shuttle. Even if it's a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm agreeing with you, Tucker. That's what pushes me away from it, because they're just going to go after those. They're just going to go after those easy points and win 20-0 if they can.
I mean, look, the most dangerous build for attack cancellation. Will, are you there?
I'm still here. Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, cool. The most dangerous build for attack cancellation, in terms of the most dangerous build to face, is 2 attack cancellation boats with a shuttle. Shuttle docks to hide. Okay, now you have 2 attack cancellation boats. One of them is taking an APT every turn. That is extremely easy to deal with. If you come prepared to drop APTs on your opponent's ships, you're solid.
Who in the entire top 8 did that though?
It literally won Peter the Worlds.
That was
Joseph.
one.
I hate to keep bringing that up.
That was one, and it would have had no effect on Joseph just if he had just noticed it.
Right, but
it wasn't the counter to his build at all.
But like, that's the thing, Will, is that all you need is for one turn to go wrong. That's all you need. If I have
That's all you need for any game, for one turn to go wrong. And if I have attack cancellation, the one turn going wrong is not going to be the turn that it happens. It's going to be the turn after.
Okay, I have a question. Why do you think it is so incredibly broken that, like, nothing can stop it? Like, why do you think that?
Because it was proved that nothing can stop it. And the only thing the only things that took it out of the meta in the first place were the introduction of fighters, which are already broken, and the introduction of what the hell was the other thing? And the removal of disruption from the meta, which is something I did not anticipate at Worlds.
There has never, ever been a high-level event under the current format besides Worlds. Period. You can't say... In fact, most of the regionals happened while Wayun Veryl Lenalis Crusher still worked.
Except Crusher wasn't legal.
Of course... she was out there for a while. I don't know what
she was. The Enterprise E was after all of that.
Well, there was Go Ball, like, as backup in case you really needed to cancel 3 attacks in a turn. Like, but the point is, this is not. I don't think the regionals are a particularly good guide at telling us what the meta is. Not anymore. Like, what won? You know, what won almost every single regionals? Dreadnought. Well, we can't even have Dreadnoughts. Literally, the only regionals build that's still legal is the last one. I'm not even sure that one's still legal. It might have had 2 ships.
And we still have Dreadnoughts since they reintroduced the shuttle.
Yeah, but it's you can't. The restrictions are tighter. You can't have a Dreadnought and an RSV anymore. Actually, no.
Yes, you can. You certainly can.
Shuttle, yeah. It's harder though. It's a lot harder.
I would take my build at Worlds against a ship at 100 points through a shuttle and a fighter that could cancel 2 attacks a turn. I'd be pretty confident in beating that. And 2 conditional surrender ships at 50 points. I'd be very confident at beating that, because can they even be board ships?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, you need to do a little... You need to have, I think... Hold on. You end up, I think...
You won't have the magnetic charges anymore for the most part. You might have one with magnetic charges. But I would take 2 Borg spheres with attack cancellation and a set of fighters against your build every day of the week.
Okay, you know what? Here's an easy thing. Will, you told us not too long ago that you have an easy way to do games on this show. If you want...
I did?
Okay. When? Yes! You said you said you had a much better setup to do games and stuff.
I didn't say it was easy. That. We used it last time, remember?
Oh. That was your better setup?
Well, my better setup was when I was doing the was similar to what I was doing for the planetary scenario adjustments before Worlds, but we haven't played a game on that yet.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
The difference that makes it easier is that I'm not kneeling on the floor. I'm now sitting in a chair.
Okay.
It's otherwise exactly the same thing.
Okay, but my point is, if you guys look, you just friggin' play it out. Like, if it's that dominant, like, why don't we set up this game and have it later? Because we're sitting here arguing about it. It's not like we don't know how to play this game. Like, if you can teach me how to do the super secret commentary thing, I will commentate, and you two can play. Holy crap!
We can play with him seeing the board through a camera and me seeing the board with my own 2 eyes. Tucker, you played on that board.
Yeah, that's.
It'd be a fun game to play, but you guys said the maneuvering was tough to judge last time, right? And that's what's gonna.
And Joseph would not be able to take his range 3 ruler every 30 seconds to put it down on the board.
Well, actually, that's true. I'm wondering if I could do it. My camera is such that it would be very easy for me to move it around and give you guys different views. Let's talk about this later. The point is, maybe we go home and we test this a little bit. Because I don't think we're going to get anywhere by just arguing about it nonstop.
Oh, no. But yeah, so that's 2-1 in favor that the current system is balanced. And that if you guys play official, unrestricted, you guys will be fine.
My vote is that it's balanced enough to be diverse and engaging. I don't know if I go so far as to.
I call it unbalanced because it's just a series of different broken things in different broken manners.
Okay, but now hold on a second. Here's the thing, though. I think we're to the point, with maybe the exception of fighters, where broken's a very hard term. Like, broken, absolutely 3 attack cancellations per turn with no disruption was broken.
That's assuming your opponent is doing something terrible, and that's not a prerequisite for broken.
What? No.
Broken is what you can do. It's not what your opponent's not doing.
No. Assuming no disruption, meaning cost dispersion field.
Assuming no counter disruption. Cost dispersion field is the opposite of disruption.
No, assuming no disruption is able to affect you is what I meant by no disruption.
Okay.
Anyway, the point is that's obviously broken. Something like, what's a really good example? Gen Con. That's strong. That's really, really good, as we saw in Worlds. I don't think I would call that broken.
Oh, no,
Bioships, really, really strong. I don't think I'd call that broken. Mag charges, really, really good. I don't think I'd call them broken. I think we're finally starting to get to the point where, I mean, look, we're never, ever, ever, ever going to be in a place where even 50% of the cards and ships in this game are viable. It's just not going to happen. But that's not a bad thing for the game. Like, the thing is that there's always going to be a top sort of tier of stuff. You know, Jean-Luc Picard 9 is never going to be bad. I mean, unless we get something ridiculous like Jean-Luc Picard 9 for 4 points or whatever.
He breaks the power curve though enough that I would call him in need of a nerf.
I disagree completely. At this point, it is so easy to get. I mean, what does he give you? He gives you
the point of something that's broken isn't how easy it is to get. It's how it affects the entire power curve of the game. Lure was broken.
Yes, absolutely. Lure was broken. There's no question in my mind that Lure was broken. The thing is, I would say at this point,
Cloaked
the rest
Minds,
of the game has
even with the things that you can take against them, are still broken.
I disagree. I really disagree with that.
Having a silver bullet against something is broken doesn't make something not broken.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying I think that the rest of the game has finally caught up to the power curve of JLP9 and Cloaked Minds.
I completely disagree on both of those accounts. Joseph is the only swing voter here.
Look.
Well, he's probably still the best captain in the game, but if we went on the Facebook group now, people would disagree with us, and some of them would have very reasonable arguments.
Here's my thing: Jean-Luc Picard no longer goes in every single build ever.
He didn't go in every single build ever in the first place, but he did go in from the data I collected from 3 local OP events. He was 66% of all fleets created, and he was used 3 times more often than the next captain.
I don't think there were more than 2 or 3 copies of him in the top 8 at Worlds. I really don't. It was Joseph, the guy running the Feds, and who am I forgetting? Did Richard run him? Maybe that was the 3rd.
But still, for what he does, strictly for his power level to cost and what he does an incredible ability, incredible unmatchable, not unmatchable, but the best captain skill you can get, and he comes in at no kind of point penalty at all. He's cheaper than even some other 9-skill captains.
Okay, but assuming you're not using OXP, would you rather have him or mag charges on a Borg Diamond? That's the choice we have to make now.
Mag charges don't need him. However, the 9-skill would still be definitely a welcome thing, and he would still be my 2nd or 3rd choice.
No, but what you're saying is you take the mag charges.
Oh, you're saying one or the other.
Right, because you can't have both unless you're running OXP. And that's its own opportunity cost because you're not running Independent Fleet Captain Federation.
Which is something the Borg don't really need, per se.
No, whoa. Hold up. You don't think the Borg need Independent Fleet Captain Federation?
No. You remember when I played Day 2, right, Tucker?
Oh, okay, but let me. Okay, well, true. All right. So, here's what I'm. Okay, so let's finish this build up. Like, we got Jean-Luc Picard and a set of mag charges on one Borg ship. Are we running another Borg ship or what? We're OXP fed Borg at this point, so we're probably running another Borg ship. I mean, this doesn't sound like a good beginning to me, honestly.
I mean, we're basically just recreating Joseph's build with Borg instead of bioships. And we don't need the fleet captain, so we have plenty of points left over to do whatever shenanigans we want.
Dude, if I ran Joseph's build without the fleet captain on Borg against Joseph's build on bioships with fleet captain, I would get destroyed.
Do you agree with Maximum DT that because everyone can have a card, that means it is more balanced?
That's not a balance discussion. That's a availability discussion.
Mm-hmm.
That is, the answer is I don't think if we're talking strict gameplay, no, I don't think availability impacts card balance. That said, I am very happy that JLP9 every single person who plays this game has. Like, I'm happy that he's one of the most available cards.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a different issue.
Guess how I would consider him in this context is that I don't feel that he constrains my builds, or not to a significant degree. So
yeah, that's a really good point. He doesn't warp the meta anymore.
I mean, I use him. I agree with you, Will. He gets used a lot, and he should get used a lot because he's still a bit ahead of the curve. Actually, since flagships have been gone, I think he's better than he was. So
since you have less ways to get that free action every turn, whatever you want.
Yeah, but he's he doesn't. I can't think of a time where I put a build in and went, Jean-Luc exists. I forgot. Delete. You know, it's just not. It's just not what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and at this point, that's why I'm saying that for me, Cloaked Minds isn't like that either. To play around for sure, I don't think it really invalidates builds that aren't really invalid for other reasons. Like Swarms suck against Cloaked Minds. Okay, that's totally true. But you know what? Swarms suck against 50-50-20 anyway.
Against what? Sorry.
Against 3
50,
ships.
50, 20. Two
Yeah.
big ships and a support carrier. Like,
Yeah.
the one thing I would like to see is a reason to play something besides 50, 50, 20. Or like 48, 49, 23.
Mm-hmm. Because that's good. That's what a lot of this meta boils down to right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, is it's like, it is a sufficiently diverse meta, but if I wanted to increase diversity, that is the first direction I would want to push.
And I think shuttles overall were good in that, to an extent, they brought back dreadnoughts, in a way anyway, and they're also a competitive use of 20 points to fighters.
I mean, yes, but like, I would like to see something that is not that. I mean, even just a 40,
No, I
40,
would too.
40.
I would love. I couldn't agree with you more. I'd love to see that. But without shuttles, your last 20 points are being spent on fighters, unless you're crazy.
or running a Romulan science vessel. I mean,
Hey,
Those are.
I'll go with crazy.
It's just so crazy. It works in that case.
But yes. So to wrap up the gameplay session, 2-1. State of the Federation feels that the game, with all the rules currently enforced, is a fairly balanced and diverse field. Dissenting opinion, right here, but also I would also dissent on the fact that still 70% of the stuff in this game is still pretty much unplayable.
that's always going to be the case. That is the case in every single competitive game, period.
Hearthstone.
70% of the stuff... No, I don't even know what that is.
It's a game where 70% of the stuff is actually playable.
Okay, well, great. Go play that.
I do.
But, like, Magic?
It also has certain.
not even...
It also has certain advantages over non-digital games in that regard.
Okay, look. Oh, it's a video game? That doesn't even count!
No,
Look,
it's like
It's
a
a card
stripped
game.
down Magic the Gathering, but you play it. You play it online.
Blame the board.
Oh. Okay, look, the point is, there has never been a point in the history 70% of the stuff has been playable. Same for video, same for hero clicks, same for...
Using WizKids games as examples is not the best option here.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to think of... Yeah, Maximum TNT has it right. It's still STAW still has a better playable percentage of stuff compared to Magic.
How about compared
And I
to...
would
How about...
actually say that Attack Wing does a little better in that it gives an alternative to the competitive scene where a lot of other weird stuff becomes playable, which is the missions.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
if you're...
Not our focus, right? But
Mhm.
that 70% of those cards, they can do just fine over in that area.
Oh, no, not
Some
even.
of them.
No, mostly the top 20% of cards that we still have still work in those. It's just the ships that you add on to now. You're still using you're still using the same crew, the same weapons, if any, the same captains.
I don't know. I mean, we just got Exhibit A, Alyssa Ogawa. We're still getting stuff that's playable. Admiral Riker's going to see play. I mean, and that's what I mean when I say...
You're going to see play on that ship?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just pulling examples, but it's like, that's what I mean when I say, I think that the game's power curve has started to catch up to, Picard and such. Like, we're seeing other cards that grant free actions. We're seeing, like, Will, at this point, there are so many different ways to get target lock and battle stations on every single attack roll you make, and they don't even take your ship's action. Like, trust me, I've run through all of them.
But do you think that's good for the game?
Say again?
Do you think that's good for the game, though?
Yeah, I think that's good. Well, the answer is, look, there are two possible solutions. We get rid of all of it, or we keep all of it. I think that's fine for the game. There are always going to be unplayable cards. I can link you to several articles from Mark Rosewater. He talks about in Magic why there are bad cards.
Oh, that
and not
doesn't apply
every
here.
single reason is out. Sorry, what?
That doesn't apply here.
No, it
I know.
totally
I've read
does.
the article too.
Why does it? Why would it not apply?
Because that's not what. Number one, it's not what we're talking about right now. But
Well, no, it's the same philosophy. There are always going to be bad cards. Ultimately, look. Ultimately, Attack Wing is 50% a card game. Or let me put it this way: it is a deck construction game with a maneuverability component, or a maneuverability game with a deck construction component. However you want to put it, but which means there are always going to be unplayable cards, and the vast majority of cards are not going to be top tier. That's not a problem. I don't see it as a problem.
I am saying that Star Trek has a much worse ratio than other actual good games like Spoils, X-Wing, and things like that. Think games that I would actually consider more balanced.
Okay, I disagree completely. I don't know Spoils. I haven't played that game in like 3 or 4 years.
Star Trek Second Edition, customizable card game.
Never played that either.
The old Decipher card game
I-
that's now run by the Continuing Committee.
Would you say, Will, that there was a better or a more balanced time in the game's history than now?
Pre-Borg, before Borg, and before Cloaked Minds. I don't know if that even works.
I mean, when we just got fighters and they were about to totally dominate, as you yourself have said. Before Cloaked Minds, when every single person was complaining about how overpowered Klingons were because of how many attack dice they got and the fact they could cloak.
And that wasn't even the case, really. Cloaked Minds just made the solutions more obvious. I never had a problem fighting cloaked Klingons. There was the group of people that said, "Oh my gosh, cloak is broken." I was not one of those.
I get that, Will, for all of the reasons we have said, but regardless of whether or not you could beat them, they were very dominant in the meta because that was the person. I mean, it's like, look, just because people didn't understand in Magic how good Sly was for a very long time doesn't mean that Lightning Bolt wasn't an insanely good card. I'm sorry.
That means nothing to me, so it
going...
doesn't even help.
Okay, I'm sorry. I realize I keep going to the Magic well, but like
you
this
do.
is.
We don't play Magic here anymore, Tucker.
I know, but like I played it. I am turning 25 a week from Sunday, and I played that game since I quit in August this year. So I quit right after I turned 24. I started playing that game when I was 6. Like, I spent a long time thinking about games through a Magic lens. You see what I'm saying? That's why I keep going back there.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's like that's where my. Sorry, you're absolutely right. I will try to tamp down on it.
But we were wrapping up this section kind of, but that didn't really happen.
We
now.
should. Yeah, I mean, we could talk about this for the next hour too. Like this is.
Yeah, it's still 2-1 in favor of the game is now a better balanced experience.
Now, I will also say this.
That's not wrapping it up.
I do not. Well, this is just one other thing. On the 2-1 note, I don't rate myself nearly as good of a player as either Will or Joseph. So take the 2-1 with a grain of salt. I would say it's probably closer to evenly split with a tiebreaker. So let me just. I'll just throw that out.
I don't think Will's. I don't vehemently disagree with Will's position. I mean, he's not making crazy arguments to support it.
No.
Right?
Oh yeah. And Tucker, don't sell yourself short either. Like, you were the one that was seeing like all of the builds all throughout Worlds because you had the ability to do that. So you saw everything that was happening and what was working and what wasn't. So you definitely have more experience there.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess from like a bird's eye view, yeah, it's hard for me to get a boots on the ground experience for a lot of reasons. But and I was never a bad player. Like, yeah, I did if the Wharf ruling on Highbreaker's work had come out a month earlier, I would have locked up Collective OP1 in month 2. Okay, yeah, that's true. But, like, don't get me started on that. I am so upset about that. But, for Joseph, I don't know if you were watching the show at this point, but I complained about it at the time. Basically, I lost Collective OP Series 1, OP2. I went 3-0. I was the only undefeated player. The guy who got first place was 2-1, and the person he lost to was me. So, yeah, don't even get me started.
Well, not only is that outrageous, but it's a good segue, right? Because you wanted to talk about OPs,
actually,
right?
let's talk about OPs, because Will collected all that data, and we should put it to use.